For decades, Prince Edward was often described as the quiet member of Britain's royal family. While headlines frequently centered on King Charles III, Prince William, Prince Harry, or other senior royals, Edward rarely sought attention. He carried out hundreds of public engagements every year, supported charitable organizations, and gradually earned a reputation for consistency rather than controversy. Yet in recent years, that quiet approach has taken on new significance. As the monarchy continues to evolve under King Charles III, many royal watchers have begun asking whether Prince Edward's patient dedication has finally been recognized in ways that few expected. To understand why Prince Edward's current position matters, it's important to go back several decades. Born on March 10, 1964, Edward was the youngest child of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. Unlike his older siblings, Edward grew up during a period when the monarchy had already become a constant focus of television cameras and global media. Expectations were high, but so was public scrutiny. Every decision made by members of the royal family was examined, discussed, and often criticized. As the youngest sibling, Edward naturally occupied a different place within the family. Prince Charles was the heir to the throne. Princess Anne quickly became known for her tireless work ethic and dedication to royal duties. Prince Andrew served in the Royal Navy before becoming one of the monarchy's most recognizable figures during the 1980s. Edward, meanwhile, developed interests that were noticeably different from those traditionally associated with senior royals. He explored theater, television production, and the creative arts before eventually committing himself full-time to royal service. Those early career choices attracted criticism at the time. Some commentators questioned whether a prince should pursue entertainment rather than military service or traditional royal responsibilities. Yet, with the benefit of hindsight, Edward's journey demonstrated something important. He was willing to explore his own path before returning to public service with a greater understanding of communication, media, and modern audiences. Everything changed after his marriage to Sophie Rhys-Jones in 1999. From the beginning, their relationship appeared remarkably stable compared with many other high-profile royal marriages that had dominated newspaper headlines during previous decades. Sophie gradually became one of the most trusted working members of the royal family, building a reputation for careful preparation, professionalism, and empathy during public engagements. Queen Elizabeth II was said to value those qualities immensely. Throughout her reign, the late queen consistently emphasized duty over publicity. Members of the royal family, who quietly fulfilled their responsibilities without creating unnecessary controversy, often earned her deepest respect. Observers frequently noted that Edward and Sophie embodied that philosophy. One of the clearest examples of this trust came through the title associated with Prince Philip. For more than 70 years, Philip held the title of Duke of Edinburgh, making it one of the most recognizable royal titles in modern British history. Long before Queen Elizabeth II passed away, it had been publicly reported that she wished for Prince Edward eventually to inherit that title. Buckingham Palace itself had indicated years earlier that Edward was expected to become the future Duke of Edinburgh at the appropriate time. That expectation was finally fulfilled in March 2023. On Edward's 59th birthday, King Charles III formally created him Duke of Edinburgh. The announcement fulfilled a long-standing wish associated with Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. Rather than representing an unexpected inheritance, it reflected years of planning that had already been acknowledged publicly. Even so, becoming Duke of Edinburgh carried symbolic weight that extended far beyond a change of title. Prince Philip had devoted decades to promoting young people's education, outdoor activities, leadership, and personal development through the Duke of Edinburgh's Award. Established in 1956, the program has helped millions of young people across more than 100 countries build confidence, develop practical skills, and contribute to their communities. By accepting the title, Edward also accepted responsibility for preserving that remarkable legacy. Many royal commentators believe this role suits him perfectly. Unlike positions that demand constant media attention, the Duke of Edinburgh title emphasizes service, continuity, and long-term commitment, qualities that Edward has demonstrated throughout much of his adult life. Another subject that frequently attracts attention is Bagshot Park, the residence where Prince Edward and Sophie have lived for many years. Located within Windsor Great Park in Surrey, Bagshot Park had a long history stretching back centuries. The current mansion dates largely from the 19th century and has served various royal purposes over time. When Edward and Sophie prepared to move into Bagshot Park during the late 1990s, a the property required extensive renovation. Public records have documented that significant restoration work was undertaken before it became their family home. The arrangement has often been cited as an example of how long-term leases and restoration agreements operate within the broader framework of royal residences. These details sometimes become the basis for speculation online. Because royal property arrangements are often complex, rumors frequently emerge suggesting dramatic disputes or secret battles over ownership. However, historians regularly point out that many royal residences are governed by carefully structured legal agreements that distinguish between personal property, crown estate assets, and properties held in trust for future generations. Understanding those distinctions is essential because they illustrate how the British monarchy functions within constitutional and legal frameworks rather than through the personal wishes of any single monarch. This is one of the most misunderstood aspects of the modern monarchy. Although King Charles III serves as sovereign, many royal properties are not his personal possessions. Some belong to the Crown Estate, which operates independently, and whose revenues are managed under established legal arrangements. Others are privately owned by members of the royal family or held under specific leases and agreements. These legal structures have developed over centuries and are designed to ensure continuity regardless of changes in the monarchy. That reality often surprises people who assume a king can simply decide the fate of every royal residence. Constitutional experts frequently explain that the British monarchy operates within laws, conventions, contracts, and long-established precedents. Personal preference alone is rarely enough to alter legally established arrangements. Meanwhile, Prince Edward's public role continued to expand steadily following the deaths of Prince Philip in 2021 and Queen Elizabeth II in 2022. As several senior working royals stepped back from official duties for various reasons, Edward quietly assumed additional responsibilities. Together with Sophie, he increased the number of engagements they carried out across the United Kingdom and overseas. Their schedule reflected the broader effort by King Charles III to maintain an active but streamlined monarchy. Unlike dramatic headlines that dominate social media, Edward's contributions rarely generate sensational news. Instead, they are measured through years of consistent service. He regularly visits charities, educational organizations, military groups, and community initiatives without attracting the intense media attention that often follows other members of the royal family. Ironically, that very consistency has become one of his greatest strengths. Royal historians often observe that institutions as old as the British monarchy depend not only on moments of celebration, but also on individuals willing to perform countless routine duties that receive little publicity. Edward has increasingly come to represent that quieter form of leadership. For supporters of the monarchy, this reliability reinforces public confidence. For critics, it demonstrates that even less prominent members of the royal family can contribute meaningfully without dominating headlines. As King Charles continues shaping the monarchy for the future, Prince Edward's steady presence appears more important than ever. Yet questions remain about how the institution will continue evolving, how responsibilities will be divided among senior royals, and what role Edward and Sophie will ultimately play in preserving the traditions established by Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. Those questions have fueled endless discussion among royal commentators. Some believe Edward's influence will continue growing behind the scenes. Others argue that his greatest contribution lies precisely in avoiding the spotlight while ensuring the monarchy's day-to-day work continues without interruption. Whatever the future holds, one thing is difficult to dispute. Prince Edward's journey has been unlike that of any of his siblings. Rather than seeking prominence, he earned respect gradually through decades of dependable service. In an era when dramatic headlines often overshadow quieter achievements, that may prove to be one of his most lasting legacies. As Prince Edward settled into his role as Duke of Edinburgh, many royal observers began comparing his approach to leadership with that of his late father, Prince Philip. Although the two men have very different personalities, they share one notable characteristic: a preference for action over publicity. Neither built a public image around dramatic speeches or constant media appearances. Instead, they focused on supporting the institution behind the scenes, allowing their work to speak for itself. That philosophy has become increasingly valuable as the royal family navigates one of the most significant periods of transition in its modern history. Queen Elizabeth II passing in September 2022 marked the end of a 70-year reign that had provided remarkable stability. King Charles III inherited not only the